This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Matchless.
It's the Morning Matchless.
Talking the stories that are shaping headlines, plus those that make you go,
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Matchless, the show where we talk about stories shaping the headlines. Today is Monday, July 27th. We are live on YouTube, so check us out there. And we have a lot of stories and developments to discuss, particularly the state of tourism in the region and around the world as well. We'll talk about what governments around the world currently are doing to revitalize the tourism sectors in their countries, but we'll also talk about what COVID-19 has done to tourism on a long-term level, particularly here in Sharjah, with plans for global exhibitions changing quite radically. So stay tuned as we discuss those developments, plus all the big headlines from around the world.
Yep, of course, and we are gearing up for the Eid festivities, so we're looking forward to what the government is planning on doing in making sure that we have social distancing in place. We make sure that people do have a safe and a healthy celebration of Eid al-Adha. So we'll be discussing what the Sharjah police has been looking at, a potential security plan ahead of the Eid al-Adha. Apart from that, couple of big announcements from the Emirate of Sharjah itself.
Certainly, Abdul Karim, His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, Supreme Council member and ruler of Sharjah, has issued two Emiri decrees. One on the formation of the Sharjah Sports Council and another on the annexation of Sharjah Entrepreneurship Foundation Rawad to Sharjah Economic Development Department. So we will talk more closely about this.
Yep, and all the implications and what that means for you. All that's what we brought forward. So stay tuned to the Morning Majlis. We shall be returning right after some musical entertainment, and we'll keep you moving with a bit of a traffic update as well. So stay tuned. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Matchless.
It's the Morning Matchless.
Hello and welcome back onto the Morning Majlis. The thing about us is we try to get you into this travel spirit.
Yeah.
We guilt trip you recently, but we're trying to get you involved. Taiwan, one of the countries that it has been recognized for its brilliant fight against coronavirus. They were exceptional. And now they're opening up their cruise industry. They're saying they've resumed island hopping ocean cruise and a couple of places in the world to restart voyages after the coronavirus pandemic had brought the industry to a virtual standstill. 900 holidaymakers are adapting to the new safety measures while boarding the Genting Hong Kong Explorer Dream, embarking from Taiwan's northern Keelung port. The company is now offering up to 5 days from Taiwan to a scenic journey through the islands of Penghu, Kinmen and Matsu. But it seems like people are very, very excited to go on board.
Certainly they are, and this cruise resumption is part of their government's efforts to boost their tourism sector that was really badly hit by the coronavirus. Taiwan has largely closed its borders now since mid-March, and now they advise citizens against overseas travel unless absolutely necessary. But now they're ready again. Sales manager of the cruise line said a sea voyage could satisfy the desire for travel of people who are not permitted to go abroad. Now, this ship is carrying just a third of its maximum passenger limit and is equipped with 22 COVID-19 wards to isolate passengers if any fall ill. And this 500-strong crew underwent a 21-day health screening before coming on board. All frontline service staff are required to wear masks and gloves. Buffet service has been dropped. The onboard casino and spa are shut, and dining tables are set apart and divided by screens as well.
Yeah, Rania, and that's definitely a challenge that they faced here, putting together a safe cruise amid pandemic conditions all around the world. And they said they came up with some novel concepts to do this. They said they have a flexi feast dining plan. So instead of bottlenecking everyone with set meal times, having them show up to the dining areas all at once. People have the ability to customize their meal times, their meal plans whenever they could in order to space out the amount of people at the cruise's dining areas. And they've also stated that they've spent months overhauling the health, hygiene, and operating protocols within the cruise in order to ensure the safety of the passengers. But this is a remarkable achievement for Taiwan, which, like Abdul Karim said, has done a great job at controlling the spread of the infection in Taiwan. And there's hopes of seeing tourism restart and become reinvigorated in other parts of the world where the virus has hopefully been reined in.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are wondering, what did they do precisely and what different to the world? It's a country at the end of last month, a country of over 23 million people. Only 7 deaths were recorded as of the end of last month. What they had done is they quickly acted to control the borders. First thing they did was, all right, seal the borders. They activated a central epidemic command center as early as 20th of January. The world technically reacted in March. These guys, or Taiwan in particular, reacted straight away. Now, because of its geographic proximity to Wuhan, understandable, but they started big data analytics, they started mobile phone tracing and tracking, so they were very aggressive, and there was a huge coordination with each and every government department to make sure that they fight off the spread of COVID-19. But no, they've done exceptionally well. They've kept it at bay. They have 11 active cases, no local transmission for more than 3 months due to the early and effective prevention. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis, and we shall be returning right after the news headlines courtesy of Aisha Al-Mazmi.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis.
It's the Morning Majlis.
We go over to the Chinese city of Chengdu, where the United States consulate has officially closed today morning amid worsening tensions between China and the United States. The American flag over the building was lowered at dawn, according to the Chinese state-run broadcaster CCTV, and a number of curious onlookers were moved back as a heavy police presence surrounded the consulate. This follows a development last week in which the United States abruptly closed China's consulate in Houston, Texas. The United States claimed that the mission had been involved in a larger espionage effort using a number of diplomatic facilities around the United States.
Yep,
Yeah.
and the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced actually today, that the Chengdu consulate closed at 10 a.m. They said that relevant Chinese authorities then entered from the main entrance and took over. And over the weekend, we know that hundreds of people had gathered outside the U.S. consulate in the southwestern city of 16.5 million people, taking selfies and waving Chinese flags. But on Saturday, the U.S. was taken down, the insignia, while on Sunday, removal work began on a plaque outside the embassy, and shipping containers were loaded onto trucks as staff prepared for the consulate to be closed.
Yeah, and they say that they were given the same time frame, 72 hours that was given to the Chinese by the Americans for the closure of the Houston consulate, and now we've seen that here in Chengdu. So there was a lot of thought anyway, and rumors circulating, and we were discussing that yesterday as well in the Morning Majlis, that things are getting or escalating slightly to an extent that more consulates will be closed. Chinese Foreign Ministry called the move an unprecedented escalation for the ongoing tensions between the two countries. They said the current situation between China and the United States is something China does not want to see, and the responsibility rests entirely with the United States.
Yes, indeed, Abdul Karim. And for those asking how significant this escalation is, the closure of consulates, it is a rare and dramatic step. And while it's not an embassy, which would have been responsible for policy, a consulate plays an important role in facilitating trade and outreach and has a great deal of symbolic significance as well. But this is happening in the backdrop of ever worsening tensions between China and the United States. We've had U.S. officials blaming China for the global spread of COVID-19. President Donald Trump even alleging, without citing evidence, that the virus originated from a Chinese laboratory in Wuhan. The two countries have also been locked in a tariff war since 2018. Donald Trump had long accused China of unfair trading practices and intellectual property theft, while in Beijing, the perception is that the United States is trying to stop China's rise as a global economic power, that this is a new Cold War, and it's a bit of a competition that we are seeing at the moment.
Yeah, and a lot of blame, wouldn't say blame, but influence could also be derived from hardliners within the ranks of the Trump administration, such as Mike Pompeo, who was quoted actually as saying over the weekend, saying that there were decades of failed policy towards China. So
deteriorating relations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the conservatives are now looking at this whole situation as saying, yeah, you know, we've lost out in this trade war with China, and then let's start this little escalation that we're seeing. And there's lots of conspiracy theorists out there saying COVID-19 is World War III and biological warfare. But the fact of the matter is that tensions are rising. We've seen that the chess game is going on, but so far these are consulates. They're not embassies. Nothing major has happened, which is good, and it will be time will tell in terms of where we're going with this.
Time will tell indeed, and we'll continue to report on this development and the worsening relations between the United States and China throughout the program. Stay tuned to Pulse 95 as we discuss more stories shaping the headlines, particularly the state of travel within Europe and how British tourists are disappointed by a particular development amid trying to enter a neighboring country. Stay tuned to Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Matchless. Talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Yes, this is Pulse 95, and we continue the conversation about Hurricane Hanna that we discussed yesterday, and it made landfall Saturday evening on Padre Island in Texas, according to the National Hurricane Center. Now, it was the first hurricane of the season in the Atlantic and had sustained winds of up to 90 miles per hour, making it a high-end Category 1 hurricane. Now, it has weakened to a tropical depression after making its landfall on Saturday evening, bringing heavy rains and threats to flooding to parts of the state already reeling from the coronavirus pandemic. We have a statement coming from the governor, Greg Abbott, saying that any hurricane is an enormous challenge. This challenge is complicated and made even more severe, seeing that it is sweeping through an area that is the most challenged area in the state for COVID-19.
Yep, and it is the first hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic season. And as per the recent updates, we can say that it has weakened to a tropical depression after making that landfall along the Gulf Coast of southern Texas. It brought heavy rains and threats of flooding to parts of the state. Any hurricane is an enormous challenge, that's according to the governor, and it is by
it's downgraded to a tropical depression, thankfully.
Yes, it has been, and maximum sustained winds of about 35 miles an hour is what the authorities are calculating. But yes, thankfully, it hasn't caused the large-scale damage that it could have potentially caused.
Definitely, and Texas is currently contending with the aftermath of that hurricane at the moment. Texas still faces the risk of heavy rain and potential tornadoes. But looking elsewhere, Hawaii is also bracing for the impact of another hurricane. And we're referring here to Hurricane Douglas, which could become only the third hurricane in modern history to make landfall in Hawaii. Now, according to a research analyst at Colorado State University, Phil Kotzbach said it's fairly common for hurricanes to track towards Hawaii, but they usually dissipate or at least weaken considerably before impacting the island. So that is a situation we are following at the moment. The main threats here are storm surge, dangerous surf, gusty wind, and heavy rainfall, which have the potential of causing significant damage wherever they land.
Yeah, and we've seen that the rainfall has been quite extensive. About 4 to 6 inches of widespread rainfall have been recorded, and it'll be very interesting to see how this Atlantic season for the year 2020 fares when it comes to such natural disasters and hurricanes over in the United States.
Yes, it must be enormously difficult as well in a state of a global pandemic here to gather your supplies, to isolate with family and friends in a safe fashion. That is one of the challenges officials are facing in these areas. But we'll keep you posted on this development and so many more other developments and stories shaping the headlines, particularly what Expo Center Sharjah is doing to study the future of the events industry right here in Sharjah.
This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
It's the Morning Majlis. It's the Morning Majlis.
Hello and welcome back onto the Morning Matchless. Did you guys catch the Premier League action yesterday?
No.
No.
A little bit, yes.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Well, I wouldn't have actually caught it, to be honest. But I got convinced by a couple of friends within Pulse 95 who said, look, you got to go and watch these games. The reason why I didn't want to watch them is because my team, mid-table, sadly, had to play the team that won the Champions, or the Premier League. So it was very difficult to digest another defeat, let's say, to Liverpool. But yesterday it was a do-or-die situation for teams such as Manchester United, Chelsea, Leicester. 3 were in contention for the final spots to move to the top 4 ranking so that they can move to the Champions League. And we also saw Watford and Aston Villa also in contention for maybe a little bit of a relegation situation. But very interesting to see what happened yesterday. Manchester United against Leicester. Man United just cemented their authority, 2-0 victory, and they are now through to the next round. They qualify for the Champions League now, and something to be slightly proud of at the moment.
Yes, but I want to talk about the Italian one.
Oh,
the Italian
what
league. Well, Cristiano Ronaldo actually scored his 31st goal of the Serie A season as Juventus beat Sampdoria 2-0 to win the title for a 9th successive time. At the final whistle, of course, Juventus players danced in celebration, and they definitely embraced each other in front of the empty stands inside the Allianz Stadium. So, and this was actually Ronaldo's 31st goal in 32 matches.
Wow, incredible development here. And also the newspapers, as far as like football is concerned, there's a lot of rumors about Lionel Messi and where he might be heading. Following a recent column reporting that Messi might just be fed up with Barcelona. His current deal expires in 2021, so a lot of questions there as to where he might be. That's another interesting thing to sort of examine and study as we move forward.
He'll come to Newcastle. He'll just come
Of course he would. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, he'll just come to Newcastle, especially when there's rumours of a potential very big takeover from Mike Ashley. Now, with Debenhams and all sort of issue as well, I'm pretty sure Mike Ashley might just say, hey, let my club be taken over. And then, Lionel Messi, all the big names will be coming into Newcastle and all the big fans will be joining. And, there's going to be a fairy tale end. So, as Omar Adura used to say, the film Goal, Make a Dream Happen, I think that's what it was called. Goal, it's on Netflix as well, to watch that film. it's a reality. It's going to become a reality. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Well, that's it for now, for today, for us here on the Morning Matchless. We might be seeing cricket return to the United Arab Emirates, courtesy of Indian Premier League. We'll keep you posted as well. And we shall be returning very, very shortly tomorrow morning, bright and early.
Yes, indeed. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we'll be back with the stories shaping the headlines. We are live on YouTube throughout the day, so go on YouTube, type Pulse 95 Radio in the search bar. And if you missed today's show, you can check out the highlights on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcast. Just type Morning Majlis in the search bar. Thank you all for listening, joining the conversation right here on the Morning Majlis, and see you next time.
Until next time.
The heart of Sharjah. The heart. The heart of Sharjah. Pulse 95.